President Clinton was acquitted, the polls went up in his favor. You had precedents. The same thing happened again. And Nancy Pelosi warned that could happen again. So we do have precedent for it. This is what happened when the American people don't want something, and the media, who drives this, and the politicians who are in power in the House, like the Republicans were during Clinton, drive it anyhow. I don't care what you think, I'm going to drive this home because I know better than you. The results has always been the same when you ignore the will of the people.
I don't think the will of the people was ignored. Again, we're seeing more and more people who are dead set on watching see what happens in November. I think that there are more people who want to see actual action at the ballot box, and there are people who want to see a removal from Congress. Like I think that has always existed. I think that people want to see this happen.
I think Ameshia is in an emotional meltdown too. She doesn't want to deal with the. Let me tell you why.
She's not ripping papers.
No. All I'm saying.
That was theatrics. Ripping papers was theatrics, just like the president not shaking her hand.
We could have learned from Bill Clinton. It's the same. The American people just does not want it.
I want to respond to what Ameshia said.
But what I want to do, though, since we've had you earlier, I want to give our fresh faces and fresh voices a chance to respond.
Well, what Ameshia said is that Nancy Pelosi did what she had to do. No. She did what she got pushed into doing. She really didn't want to do this, but the leftist movement pushed her into doing it. The AOC, the Squad, everyone. So
4 people didn't push the strongest woman in Congress to do anything.
Because of what they learned from the Bill Clinton impeachment. So then they were going to roll the dice with this and hopefully, come up with something here to put this cloud over President Trump before the election, to influence the election, to influence voters. And it totally backfired. And as you pointed out, the polling numbers, President Trump is on fire. We've never seen these numbers before. And on top of that, the fundraising, the money is pouring in. I mean, people are pumped up. I got text messages and phone calls from Democrats and other people who used to hate Trump, and they said, you know what, Stephanie, you're right. I finally see it. And so to me, that is just a game changer.
Well, when we come back, I want to figure out what they finally have seen. I got to come back to that. That's the interesting one, but I got to give you a chance to say something.
Yeah, my viewpoint was that they should have been impeaching from day one as it comes to this case that they tried. Congress is too shy and too political to use the power that they have to check the executive. I appreciated that Nancy took her time to put a case together, but it was always going to lose. She surely knew it was always going to lose in the Senate, but that doesn't mean that they should be playing politics with the Constitution and cede their power to check an executive that they don't like and they think is immoral and also committing crimes. They should try, and they were always going to lose. I think everything happened as it was supposed to.
And she did, after she impeached them, she sat on the papers for a month. And we'll be back.
If he ever has apologized or ever need to be forgiven for anything. I can't remember who did that.
He was in Iowa.
And he
told the people he never had to ask God to forgive. He never had a reason to ask God for forgiveness.
That was when I knew that this was not going to work for me spiritually, ever. And we still see that he is still the same man today. The prayer breakfast was disappointing, like you laid out. And it just brought me back to clips that I've seen, because I was really young at the time, of Bill Clinton when he came out into the Rose Garden. And he apologized for all of this mess. He took apologies around the entire speech and was like, listen, I've dragged the nation through something horrible. I am sorry. Whether or not Donald Trump did something criminal, high crimes, misdemeanors, in these phone calls, he clearly did something that enough people thought was unethical to bring this to the center of the Congress and really traumatized the nation with another impeachment. He could have said sorry, moved on, and offered an olive branch to everyone, but he's not going to do that.
No, and let me tell you something. There is no allegation in my mind that they brought against him that should have removed him from office.
It was the wrong fight.
Let me just be clear on that. But I thought God, and I'm saying God, gave Donald Trump the perfect hand. The State of the Union, the next day he was acquitted, and the next day was the prayer breakfast. I thought he gave him the perfect hand. He blew it.
Armstrong, if I could intersect.
No,
remember Richard Nixon. He said contrition was, and I won't want to use the epithet, this is not a novel attitude to have in the White House. This is in the middle of Watergate, and he never apologized. So Donald Trump is not an aberration, unfortunately.
So, but it works for his base, Stephanie. They love it.
He had a beautiful State of the Union speech.
No, it's fantastic.
And we can all sit here and criticize Trump over how he speaks and who he is and all these other
nobody's
things.
criticizing
but
Trump.
He's not a perfect person, and we all know that. And
that's not what we're talking about,
pointed out, he's grown a lot. And yes, it was a great platform and a perfect opportunity, and it was the National Prayer Breakfast, and there's so many things that you can do. But I'm not going to sit around here and be upset about it. Yeah, it was like, I listened to it and I was like, oh, interesting. But he had just been completely mistreated by the Democrats for so many years with the Russia collusion hoax, the impeachment scam, and everything that his family's been through. I mean, he basically apologized to his family because that's not what they signed up for. And so, yes, he's angry. He has the whole media against him, where, I mean, what's 96, 98% of all of the coverage is negative against President Trump. He can't even have a scoop of ice cream without being criticized. So, yes, he's angry. Was it a perfect speech? Probably not, but I'm not offended by it because I'm looking at his actions and what he's doing for this country.
So let me ask you a different
and when
question.
it comes to
I don't want
religious
you to be
freedom,
offended.
he's done more
So you're
than
making
any
a trade-off.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Let me stop.
PR spin
Let's
machine
just
for
say
Trump right now.
I'm not offended by it, but do you have hopes that at the prayer breakfast he would have given the nation something other than not about him?
He is giving the nation a lot, and so that's what
I'm talking about the
focused
prayer
on.
breakfast.
I try to find the good in things.
We
I
are
don't
finding the
like
good.
nitpick, and I'm not going to get upset over his speeches. Trump will be Trump. He's never changed. He's grown, over the years, but he's going to be Trump at the end of the day.
Fair
We're
enough.
all pearl clutchers now. Like, we don't watch reality TV. We don't listen to all these terrible rap songs on the radio that are so anti-woman. And then all of a sudden now we have a president who's just like us and what we see on TV, and now we're all very offended.
Ameshia?
So I was actually at the prayer breakfast, and I can't say that I was shocked by the president's comments because unlike some of the members to my right here, this president is who he always was, and he's not changing. So I wasn't shocked by that at all. He's been vindictive. He'll always be vindictive. And to your point earlier, Armstrong, everything was set up for him to take the path less traveled, to actually rise above his own angst and to do something and to showcase unity to the country. At the end of the day, Trump did win. But he can acknowledge the fact that, yes, he wasn't going to be removed from office, which I don't think anybody ever really assumed would happen. However, to take that moment to actually throw shade at your enemies, to be someone who's extremely vindictive right after an opening prayer, right after the setup for him was amazing, I think that's problematic, and it speaks to this man's character.
Let me
He's
switch
so
here.
transparent,
Let me
by the
switch.
way.
Let me switch here. I hope you hope this from me. I hope the Armstrong Williams you saw 2 years ago is not the Armstrong Williams today. I hope I have progress where I'm a better person, that I'm kinder, I'm more forgiving, I'm less vindictive. I think that's what we all have to strive for. You don't want to see your kids at age 2 still fighting, smacking each other at age 6. You want to hope that they love each other, protect each other, and embrace each other. Only thing I'm hoping for, because I think he has done so much. But imagine if he had it all together. He could go down as the greatest president in history. I like to see him get what he really deserves. I just hope for better, because I know he can be better.
Do you not appreciate the honesty? I would rather somebody just tell me.
No, the devil on the shoulder is not the honesty.
Actually, no, this is a good point. Actually, Stephanie, this is a good point.
This is a prayer
Let me
breakfast.
tell you, let me quote the Bible.
With a straight face
Let me
telling you
quote the
one thing when
Bible.
they're
The
thinking
Bible
something
says,
different.
the Bible says, which is a better son or laborer? Someone who kisses me with their mouth and then stabs me in the back, or someone who actually says what they think?
The Bible also says forgive
that you
70
should
times 7, and somehow he has forgotten that as well.
But
When you quote
here's
Bible,
the
that's
good news. We
want to
understand
get to work.
by this panel why some people feel the way they do about Donald Trump and why others feel the way they feel about Donald Trump. Because it's all right here. Because you know what? When you sometimes have blindness on, and I have them on too, you can only see what you want to see. And that's just who we are. Quickly, I think we have a minute left. Gayle King and Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg should be canceled.
He should have been canceled a while
Oh
ago,
my God!
actually.
His tweet was threatening and awful and scary. The thing that he said about Gayle King.
There's a video accompanying it.
Her doing her job.
She was doing her job. The problem here is that there are people who do not understand the totality of humanity. There are some folks who, yes, they might be great family people, they might be Christians, but they also have these other personalities of not doing such good things. And I think that when you have somebody like Gayle King, who literally was asking a question that is free range for journalists to ask, and Snoop Dogg comes out and attacks her in a way that not only demeans women, but also in a way in which he elicited violence. He might not have gone and done it himself, but he called on it for other people, and that's a problem.
Stephanie.
Well, he did that to the president in one of his music videos, so he should have been canceled a few years ago. I mean, he's pretty rabid, and he used a platform that he has. He could be using it for good, and
In a
he's not.
free country, you can demean your
I would
leaders
caution
with no
him going after Trump,
consequences.
though.
Yeah.
He may have a better shot.
But this is the same Snoop
but he's
Dogg who
not
has
the only one
videos
who
that
did
feature
it,
women
who's
on
gone
dog.
after Trump.
I
Yeah.
appreciate
Violence.
the candid conversation today. Thank you, Bruce Fine. Thank our earlier guests. And please, continuation from the prayer breakfast. Pray for our president, Speaker of the House in this country. Pray for everybody. I'm Armstrong.